What is up, guys? It's your boy, Rick. I've seen enough. I'm calling this one Kackis here. And today, we are going to be reviewing and rating all of the different Prophecy Dungeon weapons added to Destiny 2 with Season of the Lost, taking into account their PvP and PvE god rolls. Now, this is actually pretty important for Prophecy specifically because unlike a lot of other endgame activities like raids, you can keep farming Prophecy again and again and again, and you will get loot every single time. In fact, you can even target farm certain encounters again and again to go after certain weapons. So knowing what to get is definitely a valuable piece of information. And so, let's get started. But just before we do... Whew, that was a long day of gaming. Time to hit the hay. I can't sleep! Don't let this happen to you. If you're in front of a screen a lot and you're watching a Destiny 2 video, you probably are, you need GMG Performance blue light blocking glasses. Guys, screens emit a ton of blue light that can cause eye irritation, itchiness, scratchiness, and it can interfere with your sleep. When I didn't wear these and I would do Raids Worlds first, by the end my eyes were bloodshot, they were itchy, I couldn't sleep, it was horrible. And I've been wearing GMG Performance for years now. You've probably seen me use them on the RGH podcast and so on. So not only do you get a fantastic pair of glasses, you get a fantastic little carrying case and a little cleaner, but right now there's an autumn sale. They're 40% off! Nearly half off, and all you gotta do until October 4th at midnight is just click the link in the description down below, reduce that blue light, get them with an insane discount. Gamer, get on it. Alright, now starting things off with the worst Prophecy Dungeon weapon, it's gotta be a Swift Verdict Legendary Energy Sidearm. Now, as far as sidearms go, this is not a terrible one. For PvP, it can get stuff like full auto trigger system, slide shot, killing wind, even tunnel vision, and you're combining that with stuff like kill clip or even rangefinder in that second slot for a pretty good sidearm roll. And for PvE, you probably are just going for something like threat detector or surplus plus kill clip. Honestly, the PvE roll is definitely not amazing. But the reason we find this at the bottom is simply because sidearms, and especially its precision frame 260 rounds per minute archetype, are just not super meta. Some people really enjoy them in PvP, but frankly, those people are few and far between. Most people are just going to use something like a shotgun or a fusion rifle. And in PvE, these simply don't have the same utility and killing power as a lot of other gun types like SMGs. So that's why we find it on the bottom of the barrel. Moving on from there, the second worst weapon, I hate to do this because I'm actually really going for this thing, but it's the Last Breath Legendary Kinetic Auto Rifle. So this belongs to the Adaptive Frame 600 rounds per minute archetype, and guys, unlike the Swift Verdict, the rolls here are actually pretty fantastic. For PvP, you can get something like Killing Wind or Dynamic Sway Reduction in that first slot, and then get Rangefinder in that second slot to absolutely map people. And then in PvE, oh my, the PvE god roll for this thing is truly phenomenal. You can get either Subsistence or Demolitionist in that first slot. Do you know how rare it is to find Demolitionist capable of spawning in that first slot? We haven't seen that since Season of Dawn, but you can get it here and then combine it with either Frenzy or One for All for a damage bonus. Truly fantastic. And if I'm fawning over this weapon, how is it so low? Well, quite frankly, that tells you about the quality of the Prophecy Dungeon weapons. They're all pretty amazing, but if I'm being honest, this archetype of autos isn't doing too well in PvP right now, certainly, and in PvE as well, it's in kind of a weird spot. It's definitely not bad, but if you're fighting close range doing lower level content, you're probably better off with an SMG, and then for higher level content like Grandmasters, if you're using auto rifles to pierce barrier shields, you probably want a precision frame with a little bit more range. So this is kind of in a weird in-between spot in my opinion. Still good nonetheless. But moving on from there, in the third worst position, this is going to trigger some people, so bear with me, it's a sudden death legendary energy shotgun. Now some of you are gasping right now. You've fallen out of your chairs maybe, because this is one of the most desirable weapons in the game right now due to its PvP god roll. This belongs to the aggressive frame 55 rounds per minute archetype, and it can get a very good, very specific roll, and that is going to be surplus in that first slot for increased handling. Potentially slide shot or threat detector as well can be decent, and then you're getting elemental capacitor in that last slot. That is going to let you, if you're using an arc subclass, get straight 50 handling. It's basically like a pre-nerfed quick draw, and that makes this basically the snappiest and the fastest aggressive frame shotgun in the game. If you miss the days of quick draw Fellwinter pre-nerf, this is going to get very close to it, especially when you also stack with surplus for even more handling. But remember, we gotta take both PvP and PvE into account. And whereas in PvP, it's straight bussin', in PvE, it does absolutely nothing. Because holy crap, the best thing this can get for PvE is like 1-2 punch, and it can get Grave Robber plus 1-2 punch for a little bit of a wombo combo. Something like Slide Shot Frenzy won't be terrible either, but really it's doing nothing special. Its archetype is not great for PvE, and so many other shotguns do so much more. So that's why we find it in this slot. Absolutely goated for PvP, but also quite narrow. Remember, for elemental capacitor to do its thing, you need to be using an arc subclass. That's a disadvantage, but yeah, in PvE, it really doesn't do anything, and that's why it finds itself in this position on the list. Moving on from there, we have the Judgement Legendary Kinetic Hand Cannon. So this thing is an adaptive frame 140 rounds per minute archetype. That archetype is very meta right now since the 120s got nerfed and the 150s disappeared. It's pretty much the only thing left. And so it does have some pretty darn good PvP rolls. It can get stuff like accurized rounds to extend the range. In that first slot, it can get tunnel vision, moving target, especially slide shot is definitely a highlight here. And then in that second slot, it can get opening shot for a great boost to range. It can get even multi-kill clip, but mainly it can also get timed payload. Timed payload is a goated perk, and we're going to talk about why it's so good in PvE, but for PvP, people who have mastered timed payload hand cannons can do some dirty things, and that's because you recoil your opponent twice. They flinch from the hit, and then they flinch again from the explosion a little bit later. This can really throw off your timing and let you win your 1v1s. But with that being said, its starting stats are kind of average, especially compared to other 140s like the Fatebringer and the Palindrome. But in PvE, holy crap, this thing is fantastic. It in the first slot can get Demolitionist, and we talked about with the auto rifle how rare that is, and it is absolutely fantastic here. Being able to get constant grenade regeneration, being able to throw your grenade and instantly reload your magazine, and you combine it with timed payload where the explosive damage has an infinite range, so you can snipe red bars from across the map and still kill them no problem. It is really, really a fantastic combo, genuinely up there with the Fatebringer and in the competition for the best PvE hand cannon in the literal game. I am dead serious. However, it is time to move on from there to the second best weapon on our list, and that is actually going to be the Long Walk Legendary Energy Sniper Rifle. So this is an aggressive frame 72 rounds per minute sniper, and holy crap, does it have some fantastic rolls in both PvE and PvP. For PvP, you can get something like Outlaw, Slide Shot, even Killing Wind in that first slot, and then the good old Snapshot Sights. That's going to give you a snappy, responsive weapon, and the base stats of this weapon are fantastic. Base 80 range is insane, 48 aim assist for its archetype, ties the frozen orbit, which has proven itself to be fantastic, and a perfect 50 zoom means that you're not losing any aim assist. That's the lowest zoom you can have without doing that. So yeah, this thing, I've already started to see it more and more in the Crucible. This is definitely a very viable PvP sniper rifle. And on the PvE side of things, we also have some incredible roles. It can get Clown Cartridge or Overflow in that first slot, and in the second slot it can get Firing Line. And this is an extremely rare perk. We haven't seen it for like a year, but it is back, increasing the precision damage when you're near allies. So it's bugged right now. It's doing less damage than it should be, but Bungie has acknowledged this. They said it's bugged, so hopefully it's going to get fixed. And Firing Line is incredible. Imagine you're in a raid scenario. Everyone's in a well anyways. You want to be standing near your teammates. Getting a 20% damage increase from that is absolutely insane. And that's 5% more than Vorpal weapon. So yeah, Firing Line combined with something like Overflow or Clown Cartridge, this is going to be putting out a ton of DPS. But guys, moving on from there, the last and the best weapon on our list is the Darkest Before Legendary Energy Pulse Rifle. And this is at the top simply because, again, we have to consider PvP and PvE, and the Darkest Before, holy crap, both of its god rolls are amazing. So it belongs to the 540 rounds per minute rapid fire frame archetype. Now, it should be mentioned that the starting stats for this weapon are fantastic. It almost has 10 more range than the Time Worn Spire from Iron Banner. That's another rapid fire frame pulse. Then when we talk about its PvP god roll, well, it can get something like Surplus, Tunnel Vision, Slide Shot, or heck, even Subsistence to start chaining kills, and then you're combining that with mainly you want Rampage in that second slot. That's going to give you a damage boost and let you start to kill people faster. And this thing, combined with its great starting stats, especially if you get something like ricochet rounds to improve the stats even more, a good barrel, you're going to be lasering people from across the map with an incredible time to kill as long as you can activate Rampage. I've already been on the receiving end of some Darkest Before users, and it is not fun. The rapid fire pulses can do some work in PvP. And then in PvE, it's just as good. You can again go with Subsistence to start getting ammo back for each kill, and it can even get Overflow to double its magazine for picking up special or heavy ammo. And this, with this type of weapon, is just fantastic. And somehow, if Rampage wasn't good enough, you can then move on to the perk One for All, which gives you an even bigger damage boost and is much better in PvE. So something like Subsistence or Overflow plus One for All, you have an amazing pulse rifle that, because it's a rapid fire, gets to be used much more liberally up close. You can use it in those hectic activities where there's a ton of enemies, but I would be very comfortable bringing this with me into something even like a Grandmaster if pulse rifles were the featured anti-champion weapon. This thing is just fantastic, and you absolutely want to farm it. And so guys, that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickKackis. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.